Today's episode is going to be just a little different as we're going to start off talking about Kaiir Elam, Mahmoud Di Abadi, and Emory Jones, and then I'll be joined by Zach Blackerby from Locked On Auburn to talk Florida and Auburn football, basketball. We're going to have some fun with it only here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by NetSuite. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. Head to netsuite.com/locked for a new year, new system. Happy Thursday. I am Brandon Olson. You can find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Really quickly, before we get into the latest on Kaiir Elam, Mahmoud Di Abadi, and Emory Jones, just want to say timing is going to be a little different, just experimenting with some release time. So podcast is going to come out at 3 a.m. and the video is going to come out at about 8 a.m., both Eastern time. So we're going to see how that goes and just hope for the best. But first up, talking about Kaiir Elam, of course, posted a video. I know I spoke about the video very briefly yesterday. He posted a video and he put 1 for none. And it was like, people just started quickly coming up with, is he coming back? Is he going to the NFL? What is going on? Rumors have been swirling for about a week or two now that he could very well be coming back to Gainesville. And that is a legitimate possibility. You know, he dealt with injuries this year. He was effective when he was on the field, but injuries are a big issue, especially when you look at corner where there's so much talent at corner every year in the NFL draft. There's corners that are just going to be studs every year. So why take one with an injury history? That causes that question. He stacks up towards the bottom of tier 1, top of tier 2 for corners in the 2022 NFL draft. He could go late first or early second round, maybe even mid second round. He won't make it out of day 2, or probably almost definitely won't make it out the second round. But next year, if he came back and went next year to the NFL draft, there's a very solid possibility that he can go in the early first, maybe even corner 1 at that point. It's kind of a matter of, does he want more money now or later? Because Kaiir Elam is the kind of guy where if he's healthy, we have no questions really about his technique, his athleticism, his height, his length, his hip fluidity, his skill. None of that is really an issue with him. And his IQ is obviously there. It's just a matter of, can he stay healthy? So there's a possibility that he comes back, stays healthy for a year, or hopefully stays healthy for a year, and goes early in the draft next year, makes a few extra million at that point as a signing bonus. There's also a chance that he leaves and just says, hey, either way, I'm probably going to be a second contract guy, third contract guy, whatever it may be. He's going to get multiple contracts. So why not just declare now and get that 1 extra year out of my way? And I'm 1 year closer to a much larger contract. So there's that possibility. So I think he's kind of 60-40, I'll say. 60% chance that he's going to the NFL draft, 40% chance that he comes back. The rumors are swirling. And, you know, I get their rumors, but where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes. And these rumors have been swirling. He has not officially declared at the time of recording this. So it's very possible Kaiir Elam is going to the NFL draft. It's very possible he's staying back. Who knows at this point? Next, Mahmoud Di Abadi. He, of course, was the starting inside linebacker this year, the leading tackler for the Florida Gators. He announced on, I believe, December 10th, my birthday, that he was entering the transfer portal, and he did that. He's more of a natural edge, but Todd Grantham was like, you know what? I suck at my job, and moved him to inside linebacker, off-ball linebacker, whatever you want to call it. Kind of did the same thing with Jeremiah Moon as well, although Jeremiah Moon it actually worked out with. And he announced on Tuesday night that he is transferring to the University of Utah. I thought that Auburn would be the most likely landing spot for him, given that he's from Auburn. He was liking tweets only that said, hey, come back, War Damn Eagle, like come back home, and things like that. But, you know, he ultimately chose Utah. It's going to be interesting. I like going to Utah if you want to stay off ball. I think that's a very good spot to go. Utah has a great track record of developing off-ball linebackers, but I don't know if he's going to be an off-ball guy or he's going to move to edge. I think he's going to stay off-ball because I think that's the biggest reason to go to Utah. I think that if he was going to be an edge, he probably would have just stayed he probably would have just gone to Auburn. I think that was a big deciding factor there. Or maybe Utah lets him move between edge and off ball. They've kind of done that at certain points with defensive players. I think Patrick Toney would have done that with him, but that's not up to me. They do play Florida week 1. So this year, Mahmoud Di Abadi is not done playing in Gainesville. Week 1, he will be in Gainesville with the Utah Utes. He is immediately eligible because of the transfer portal. So Mahmoud Di Abadi, week 1, will go to Gainesville to take on the Florida Gators, and it's going to be lit. It's going to be awesome, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there for that. Maybe do a little live thing. We'll figure it out. Finally, Emory Jones is still not in the transfer portal, so what is happening? Is he staying? Is he going? I think Emory Jones is as 50-50 as you can get with it. I think that, I think he's kind of torn because he's a competitor. He's very clearly a competitor, a gamer, whatever you want to call him. He's a competitor. He's going to want to fight for that starting quarterback job at the University of Florida. He's going to want it. But I think the biggest thing pushing him away is the fan base. I've said it before, and I know that I had comments the other day. They were like, I don't think they were booing Emory Jones. They were booing Dan Mullen. They were booing Dan Mullen immediately after Emory Jones threw a pick. That's what they were doing. No, they were booing Emory Jones. They've done that before. They booed Felipe Franks. Don't act like the Florida Gators fans won't boo a quarterback. They'll do it. They don't give a damn. So they booed Emory Jones. I think the fans are what pushing him away. I'm pretty sure his parents deleted Twitter because his parents were getting booed at games. His parents were getting trash talked at games, and he was getting booed. And it's just gross with the whole situation. I love him. I want him to leave. I think that he should just go somewhere where he can get a fresh start and not have so much toxic energy around him. And I'm not even saying just the fans in that case. I'm just saying there's a lot of toxic energy around Emory Jones. I think that he wants to be a quarterback. He wants to be a starting quarterback. He's fine competing for a spot. I think he leaves and goes somewhere else. I just think he hasn't officially made the decision or officially made the announcement just yet. This is it. The putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But on your backswing, there goes my little baseball post. On your backswing, your hat falls right over your eyes. Is that how you're running your business with poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software like a boomer? Ill. To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. With NetSuite, you can automate your processes and close your books out in no time while staying well ahead of the competition. Over 28,000. Notice it used to be 27,000. Over 28,000 businesses already use NetSuite. For the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/locked. Head to netsuite.com/locked for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. That is netsuite.com/locked.
Time now for a little Locked On Podcast Network crossover action. And I probably shouldn't be saying this in front of you. I guess it's fine. But Brandon with Locked On Gators, Brandon Olson, has become one of my good buddies throughout the podcast network. And we talk all the time, but we have not been able to really record a crossover because despite being in the same conference, Auburn and Florida interact very little, which is an absolute shame. But how you doing, bud?
I mean, it's a shame, but it's also like very fortunate for you because I could body bag you any day if you want it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so I had a few people in my Discord, Locked On Auburn Discord. I'm like, hey, doing a crossover with I called you the Florida guy, and I got a couple of good questions.
Better than when Tony calls me. Tony just calls me Gator Boy every single time he sees me. So
of Locked On Jags, yeah. Auburn Banker asked, how many pairs of jean shorts do you own?
Oh, jean shorts, 0, actually.
So you're not really a Florida guy, is what you're telling me.
No. I'm not a jorts guy. I'll wear like cargo shorts, but like I'm not a jorts guy.
Got it. So yeah, we'll talk about Auburn and Florida, their showdown that'll happen this Saturday in Auburn Arena. But I thought it'd be fun to talk about just kind of, what's going on with football throughout the SEC from both of our teams' perspectives right now. You guys are going through a coaching search, or really now a staff search. Auburn went through this a year ago, and It's such a fun time, I would assume, for you guys. And I really like the selection that you guys made. I think Billy Napier is going to be a heck of a coach. But what's kind of that process been like for you?
It's been awesome because I mean I was a little disappointed with some things because Dan Mullen got fired and I was like, all right guys, like we're gonna talk about this head coaching hire and who it might be and this search and we're gonna go in depth on all these candidates. We're gonna look at tape. We're gonna break down scheme. And then a few days later, it's like, yeah, Scott Strickland met with one guy, Billy Napier, and he decided he wasn't meeting with any more and that they were hiring him. So I had literal weeks worth of content planned. And then Scott Strickland was like, hey, guess what? Hate you. And just hired Billy Napier, which I'm ecstatic for because I love what he's all about. I love the coaching staff. And I love what he's building and what he's doing here, especially because Florida very much needed a culture change because, it wasn't great before. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where Auburn was a year ago. Now, granted, their coaching search drug on for forever, and there were so many rumors and reports coming out of people offering guys the job that didn't have the ability to offer the job, like weird stuff, weird power struggle stuff, and ultimately ended up with Harsin. But yeah, I don't know. It's been cool. It's been cool to see, and so some of Auburn's folks went down to Florida. Coach McGriff went down there, and then obviously Newkirk and Truesdale were down there last season. How are those guys doing?
I mean, they did all right. Truesdale was kind of rotationally more than anything else. Daquan Newkirk stepped in and pretty much was an almost immediate starter, then got kind of rotated out when Trevon Dexter really stepped up as that disruptive D tackle. Because before that, it was Antonio Valentino and Newkirk, and they were just like, yeah, we have two massive dudes here. What are we going to do with it? Because they're not generating pass rush. Yeah. But he stepped in, and I got to give credit to both of them because they were both very late ads, and they both came in and played pretty significant snaps. Like especially Newkirk played a lot of snaps this year, so I give him credit, and I think that they stepped in and just handled it like champs. And it was awesome to watch them. They seem really cool. They seem both like bought into Florida instantly, which I mean, hey, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to buy into Dan Mullen, but hey, they did it and they had fun and they showed out.
It's amazing what a year can do as far as like changing the perception of what we think about someone. I mean, Dan Mullen was one of the no-brainer hires of the past decade where it's like, okay, all right, yep, he's going to Florida. That makes total sense. And early on, it seemed like a great move. It's just crazy what can happen in literally one season.
Yeah, just so much. It happened so fast too. Where like we knew Todd Grantham had to go during the 2020 season. We knew he had to go, and then we sit through everything, and it's like, well, Todd Grantham's got to go, but Dan Mullen's still the guy. Like he's still the guy that can get us over the hump. And then it became, well, what if it's not Dan Mullen? Who are you going to hire that's better? And then towards the end of the year, it was like literally anybody. Like just it's very hard to be as bad as you do.
I don't care. Right.
Yeah. Like he lost everything. He lost the locker room. He lost the locker room. I don't know. There were some players when he got fired that they were like, I'm gonna miss him. But at the same time, Billy Napier got hired and they were like, it's time to win games. So I mean, a lot changed with Dan Mullen, and I still think he's a tremendous schemer and play caller. I don't think he was necessarily good at anything else. Like he wasn't good at recruiting, didn't put effort in. He wasn't good with the media because he just threw fits. If he was winning, it was great. But if he was losing, he was a petulant child. So that's why I think Dan Mullen's just built for the NFL. He doesn't care about recruiting. You don't got to recruit. You could just draw up your game plan, have fun, do your cute little thing, and hopefully start the right quarterback this time.
Well, that was the thing when Harsin let go of Mike Bobo as their OC a few weeks ago. There was a big chunk of the Auburn fan base that was like, oh my gosh, just give Mullen a blank check. Just drop the bag and get Mullen in. And then the other part of the Auburn fan base was like, no. Like, did you not just watch what happened? No. Like, the issue about Auburn's program right now is they need to recruit better. And he, and then he doesn't want to recruit. So, but as far as scheme though, man, like, yeah, I think you would have done a good job getting folks open and all. But yeah, over the course of 3 or 4 seasons of not recruiting, it adds up. And I actually thought Florida was one of the places where if you just wanted to coast, you could be a top 15, you could generate top 15 classes. I guess I still think it is. We just have to redefine what coasting and recruiting is, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you got to try to screw it up, and he screwed it up pretty badly there. I will say though, like I know that he caught a lot of flack like towards the end of his tenure of being like, it's not recruiting season. We'll talk about it during recruiting season. It was very clear that it just came off wrong. What he said was dumb. Not taking that away from, I'm not giving him extra credit for that. It was dumb, but he clearly wasn't saying we don't recruit right now. Like no, like we know you recruit. But first of all, he had sanctions where he couldn't go travel to recruit during the bye week and everything. So that's why when they were like, oh, did you go recruit during the bye week? He was like, it's not recruiting season. We're not talking. I was like, because he couldn't do it. So no, he didn't do it. But also he very clearly meant like, we've got games to focus on. We suck. We're really bad right now. Like he
was past the point, right? Where there's a point where, you know, these public figures, I mean, we saw it with Urban Meyer. We'll just keep it in the state of Florida, where it's like after a certain point where it's like, okay, anything you say that's slightly like not perfect, just everybody's just going to pile on. And this was after like you guys lost several games that you should not have lost this season. And so he was walking on thin ice. So this is part of it. But
yeah, it was anything he said was wrong. And it was just, even if he said the right thing, he was wrong. Like, even if he was like, we are so focused on recruiting, they probably would have been like, why aren't you focused on winning games?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. I want to talk about the basketball game coming up this Saturday. But first, Brandon, can you imagine paying full price for gas at the pump? I can't comprehend doing that.
No. What am I, a boomer? Who would do that?
No, with now that Get Upside exists, the Get Upside app, I mean, folks are saving 25 cents per gallon. And we've got this promo code now throughout the Locked On Podcast Network. If you use the promo code SCORE, you get an extra 25 cents. That is 50 cents per gallon by using the Get Upside app. I mean, Brandon, there's people making, you know, several $100 extra a month, just extra coin falling in their pocket every single month by using Get Upside. Why wouldn't you do this?
You're dumb. That's the only reason you wouldn't do it. If you don't like money, then sure, don't get Upside. But if you like money, get Upside. It's just the smart thing to do.
I think so. So once again, just search Get Upside in your phone's app store. It is free and use promo code SCORE. Also, can you imagine, Brandon, placing a bet anywhere but betonline.ag? That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I can imagine it because I've tried it and they sucked. I can tell you that much. I tried it before BetOnline. They sucked. I used BetOnline. Never turned back since then.
Now, for folks who are unfamiliar with Brandon's work, he is all about going all in on bets on tennis. That is his thing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that now. Okay. I don't think I mentioned that.
We're not going to go in detail there, but he's big on it. You should be too. Go to betonline.ag, use promo code LOCKEDON to get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Can I say also, before that, I didn't know that I was big on just going all in on 10. I still don't know how that would work out. The thing that I bet on, I don't know how that's a possible thing, but guess what? Creative enough at 4 a.m. on a Saturday, you could fill in the blanks. And it's fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Auburn and Florida take on, you know, this will be Auburn's third game in conference, but will this be Florida's third game in conference play as well?
Florida's second game. First game got COVIDed out.
Gotcha. So Auburn's going into this one, Brandon, on a hot streak. They've beaten both of their SEC opponents by 15 or more points. The last time that happened was in 1999, and Auburn was a 1 seed, and they cut down the nets. And so, the fan base feels really, really good about this team. They feel really, really good about the depth. Really, the only other team in the conference that plays as many guys as Auburn does was South Carolina, and Auburn ran them out of the gym on Tuesday night, rather. So, a lot of excitement, a lot of confidence around this fan base.
Yeah, and I mean, rightfully so. Auburn is a good team this year. Florida is very much not great. I'll say that. But I mean, hey, you texted me before and you were like, hey, can't wait to beat you guys by 30 on Saturday.
I think it's going to be ugly, man. I think it's going to be a beatdown.
That's fine. But the only way you're winning by 30 is if you win this game 50-20. Because Florida ain't giving up a ton of points. I can tell you that much. You might demolish us from 3. You might demolish us with rebounding. You might win the turnover battle, but you will not beat this team by 30. No one beats this team by a lot except 0-7 Texas Southern, okay? And you will
Powerhouse
respect
that is,
that.
yeah, no question about it. The powerhouse that is Texas Southern. So LSU right now has the number one defense in college basketball, and Auburn won that game in Auburn Arena last week, 70-55. So I'm not big on transitive property stuff, but I do think that that's kind of interesting where it's like, okay, another team that doesn't give up a whole lot of points, and Auburn found a way to get to 70. If Auburn scores 70 on Florida's, I mean, that's a win, right?
Yeah, almost definitely. Look, I'm a Gator fan, and I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not gonna be a little bit of a homer with it.
Please
But
do.
this offense just not great. It seems like at certain times this offense is just I don't think it looks like I'm playing. I've explained it before. It looks like I'm playing 2K Rec with my friends. Like it's just like there's no rhythm, there's no flow, there's no game plan. It's just set this screen and hope for the best, man. And so this offense is really what's just killing this team. Like this defense, I feel bad for them because they're playing great, but I mean, it's the same dudes that play defense and play offense in basketball, and they're just shooting themselves in the foot by having no rhythm or flow, playing ISO ball when it makes no sense whatsoever, and just chucking up shots.
Mm-hmm. I had somebody, Brandon, ask in my Discord. It was Thick Marshall Hype Generator. He asked, I've heard Florida fans argue about this before, and I want to know your take. Who's better all time, UF football or UF basketball?
Oof. I mean,
you're a big basketball guy, right?
I'm a big football and basketball guy, so I'm much bigger football. It's in my lifetime, I would probably say basketball has been more consistent, but football had higher peaks. Yeah. Like I don't think you get better than Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer football, but I don't think you get better than the first 20 years of my life where it was Billy Donovan just being great the entire time. But so it's like one of those things where you don't get more consistent than Billy Donovan was, but I don't think you get better than Urban Meyer was. I mean, on field, I'm definitely not going to say better off field. You can get very much better than that.
Totally. Right. Tim Tebow never beat Auburn. Just putting that out there.
I don't care. Tim Tebow was also the first sophomore to win the Heisman, and he won that. I don't care if he ever beat Auburn.
I don't care. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I get it. That is an appropriate response.
Yeah.
So I think Auburn is going to do what they typically do. And over the course of 40 minutes, it's just unrelenting pressure, and there's no relief with subs or anything like that. Jabari Smith is going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. You know, he comes off and there's still no relief offensively or from a length standpoint. They're a very long and athletic team. Against South Carolina, the starters scored 41 points. The bench scored 40 points. It's a very balanced team. And they'll play 10 or 11 guys, depending on if Alan Flanagan is able to come back or not due to going through all the virus protocols and things like that. So you'll definitely see 10 guys. You may see 11 if Allen's back. But how has Florida done playing against teams that rotate a lot?
Well, Florida runs into an issue themselves with depth sometimes, and the fact that they foul kind of more than they should. Like you could look at the Maryland game. Maryland played a great game, and Florida just had a ton of fouls. And it's like we're solid, but depth wise, and when you could push the tempo, I don't think it's going to work out very great for Florida. Yeah. You know, like they have a good defensive team, but teams, I want to say tempo wise, they tend to dictate the pace to Florida.
Mm-hmm. What do you think Florida needs to do to win this game?
Force a lot of turnovers. That's the same thing I said for the Alabama game. It's force a lot of turnovers. That's what you got. That's what Florida's pretty good at. So I think you got to really do it and win the turnover battle, because Florida, I believe 30% of Florida's points come off of points off turnover. So wow. Okay. I think you've really got to force those turnovers, and you really got to convert on the opportunities, because your offense just isn't great when you get in the half court set. And the thing is, they try to operate in the half court set. They're just not good at it. It's as simple as that.
Right. So for folks listening, how can they check out all of your content, my friend?
WNS_Brandon on Twitter, and check out whole9sports.com.
Sweet, man. No, I'm glad that we finally had a chance to do a crossover. Like I said,
can we just cross over randomly? Can we just be like, hey, it's crossover. We'll play each other in Madden or something and just be like, hey, this is crossover.
That'd be fun. You'd kill me, but I'd still
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Now I want to. You agreed to that too quickly. So
at any time, bring it.
Hey, for Florida folks listening, if they want Auburn spin on things, at Blackerby on social media, and of course, Locked On Auburn, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.